Okay, I think we started this yesterday, right? And I deleted everything. So just to refresh your memory on how to do this, let's say 9. This is 9 times the square root of 72. And 72 is 9 times 8. And then you can do 3 times 3, and this is 4 times 2, and then 2 times 2. So this is your one pair, one pair. So your answer is 9. A 3 comes out because there's a pair. A 2 comes out because there's a pair. This 2 is left over, so square root of 2. So your answer is you multiply this. 27 times 2 is 54, square root of 2.
Wilcox. You know, my homeroom had a hard time. I had a hard time getting it up. I had to shut off my TV. I didn't see at the beginning. I just saw all the other stuff. I'm not sure, so I didn't.
Okay. So that's how you do these, okay? So same thing happens when you have variables. You basically have two problems, square root of 16 times square root of n squared. This is n times n, you have a pair of them, so the answer is n with no square root left. This is square root 16 is a perfect square, that's 4. So your answer is 4n, okay? 31 letter y, 31 letter y, okay? So this one here, you would do 20, the square root of 20, and the square root of n squared, which is, we know, is n, right? A pair of n. And this is 5 times 4, and then 2 times 2. So you have one pair of n, so your answer is 2n, and this one doesn't have a pair, so square root of 5. So on the square root of 49, so you would have the square root of 49, which is 7, n to the third power. So you would have 3 n's, one of them paired together, so it comes out. This one is still inside, so that's square root of n. Okay, same thing here. You got 9 times 7 and 3 times 3. So you have one pair of 3, so your answer is 3. And then everything, let's see, n to the third. There's one pair of n, because there's 3 of them, right? With one n left over. Okay, and also you got this 7 left over too. And that's your answer. Or this one here, you get the square root of 36, which is 6, square root of n to the fourth, which means there's 4 of them, so you get n to the second. Or shortcut is you divide by 2, n to the second. So here you would get negative 200, so it's 100 times 2. So your answer is a negative something, right? Square root of something. Okay, so that's 10 times 10. Okay, here's the shortcut, you know square root of 100 is 10, right? So that's 10 goes out. This one doesn't have a pair. The 2 doesn't have a pair. And you can't factor out further, so it goes 2 on the inside. Now, there's 4 n's here, but instead of writing it all, we just divide it by 2. we got none left, n to the second with none left. Where this one here, divide by 2, it goes in 2 times with a remainder of 1n inside. 900 is 9 times 100. Okay. Okay, the square root of 9 is 3 times 3, right? So 3 is one of our answer. Square root of 100 is the other 10 as our answer. Multiply these together, you get 30. N squared square root of n. Okay. Divide this by 2. So for sure we get n to the 4th. No n left inside. Square root of 60 is 6 times 10. Okay. 2 times 3 and 2 times 5. So we get one pair of 2's. So our answer is 2. And these don't have anything, so we just multiply them together to get 15. 3 times 5, they go inside. Multiply them together to get 15. Okay, that's how you do that. So this is how you do all of them. Basically, if you have two variables, you do the same thing. Square root of 25 is 5 for sure. And n divided by 2 is, square divided by 2 is x to the first. And then y doesn't have anything. That's your answer. Okay, so divide these exponent by 2. You get x to the second and y, only y to the first, or just invisible 1. Okay, 90 is 9 times 10. Now 9, okay, is 3 times 3 is 2 times 5. So one pair of 3s, so our answer is 3. These two are not a perfect square, so you multiply them to get that 10. Do that to all of these, no matter what type of number. So let's say 500 here. Let's say times this. So your answer is 3 times 5 times 100. Square root of 100 is 10. And then 5, it's not a perfect square, so it doesn't have a pair. This has a pair, 10 times 10, okay. That's why it's 10. 5 does not. And you divide this by 2 here. You get x to the 4th and y to the first power. This is 30. X to the 4th, y. You don't have square root of 5. You don't have to write the 1. That's how you do that, okay? So I hope that helps on this. And then also on the back, read the directions. So write the uppercase letter, lowercase, that you do not cross out. So this one here, when you have two square roots, you can multiply them. So square root of 14 is not a perfect square, is irrational. So that's our answer. Can't do anything to it. Square root of 18 is 9 times 3, and then 3 times 3. One pair of 3 with one left over. So 3 square root of 3. If you want to do that, or if you want to do the shortcut, you can multiply these two together, 75, and you can go, okay, square root of 75. 25 is a perfect square times 5. No, times 3. Square root of 25 is just automatically 5. If you want to, you can just put 5 times 5 and notice one pair with one left over, square root of. Okay, whichever way you see it. So here, same thing with the square root of 24 here. 4 times 6. You can notice right away that this is 2, and then square root of 6 is not a perfect square, and that would be our answer, square root of 6. that answer is 2, and that's square root of 6 because it's not a perfect square. Or you can break it down, go 2 times 2 is a pair, 2 times 3, they're not a pair, so 2 times 3 is that 6. Okay, whichever way you see it. This is 300, so square root of 300, you can see it this way as 100 times 3, and the square root of 100 is 10, and square root of 3, because 3 is not a perfect square. Or you can just break this down to 10 times 10, and we know that's a pair, and then this doesn't have a pair, so that's our answer. Same thing, just faster. And that's all you do for these. And this one, same way. This means multiply times a negative. So you need to multiply these ahead of time. That's equals to negative 10 times whatever answer this 8 times. That's 64 carries 6. Oh, well, that's 144. So multiply. Square root of 144 is 12. So you get a negative 120 as your answer. So multiply, so you would multiply these here. You get 14 times 5 times 35 is 175, and you can factor that out. 25 times 7, right? And then you can do 5 times 5. One pair of 5 goes out, and this doesn't have a pair, so square root of 7. So you get 70 square root of 7. Okay, and then again, multiply these. That gets you a positive 36. And then 32 times 2 is 64. Square root of 64 is 8. You get your answer, okay? This one's basically the same thing. I'll just go straight to these one here at the bottom. Multiply 5 times that. Okay, that gets you 40, carry 4, 49. Oh, and then a, this is a to the third, add a to the 7th, multiply them together, you add exponent, a to the 10th and b to the 4th, right? And then you divide this by 2, you get your answer of, I'll do it here at the bottom, you get your answer of a to the 5th and b to the 2nd. Now the square root of 490 is 49 times 10. Now 49 is 7 times 7. We have one pair, so 7. 10 is not a perfect square. 5 times 2 is 10, so square root of 10. So your answer is 7, a to the 5th, b to the 2nd, square root of 10. 27, you do the same thing, multiply this, add the exponent, because we're multiplying. When we multiply, we add the exponent, so that's 700. A here and a here, that's a to the 2nd, and b to the 5th. Divide by 2 to each of these, you get a and b to the 2nd with the square root of b inside, and then 700 is 100 times 7, so the square root of 100 is 10, and square root of 7 is not a perfect square, so that's your answer. Okay, and then you do the other one similar, do it that way. If you have any question, ask me in class.